Alright, so the first thing that you need to be doing, that I didn't see you doing, is punishing 6PB. A slide B punishes everything she can do. God, it's been a while. Alright, there we go. A slide B punishes everything. Every stance that she does, it's going to punish. You can also use super to punish everything except for Wind Salt, in which case you'll actually just go under her. So supers also works if she chooses to block. It punishes it. If she goes Wind Fury, punishes. Wind Charmer, also punish. So that's the other option that you can do. But one of the things you can do when it comes to 6BB is if you do start punishing every single time, she's gonna start going for Wind Salt because it takes the least. She takes the least damage because sometimes you'll only get that 12 damage hit. It's also the least advantageous for you for the most part. And if you screw up the timing, she's going to hit you. So it's more in her favor to go for that. So that's what you'll see Talim start to do. But if you can start conditioning her to do that, and you start noticing that, that's when you can start going for more damage by going more in on a read. But yeah, punish 6BB, it's very, very important. As far as like, if she chooses to charge it, I mean, you can just react to that and step. Just react to the charge version. Charge version is basically a get out of jail free card for you anyway. She has to go. If you block it, she has to go into Wind Salt because the distance is so far. If she chooses to go into like Wind Charmer or something, you can just backstep. And she can't do anything. So, just something to keep in mind in general. The charge version is not that scary. Okay, so 6-6A is another move that I saw pop up quite a lot, which is pretty normal. Talims use it all the time. It's one of our best approach tools. But it's a high, and you can tech crouch it and all that jazz. But that's another long-winded topic, the whole concept of how to deal with Talim's neutral, which I'll do in another video. This is specifically for Exander. One of the things that I noticed is a lot of Talims don't hit confirm this move very often, and Sly wasn't doing it either. And he does 6-6A into Wind Fury if it doesn't connect. So if you block it, he does this. This is not a wise move. If you block it, it's only -8, she's safe. But if she does Wind Fury, she's not safe. She's creating distance to sacrifice advantage. Or I guess really the best way to say that is she's sacrificing advantage to create distance. Against Cerv, that doesn't really work. You can actually just react super if you ever see Wind Fury. This works for most of her stances. Even advantageous ones. Like this. If she decides to go into this, that's not a real thing. It just makes her more negative. So if you ever see that, if you ever just want to start blocking Talim out, you can react with your super to beat Wind Fury every single time for the most part. Unless she's doing a really advantageous button like 6-6A plus B. Which, I think even there. Yeah, I think it would have to be unhit. In most situations, you're never gonna get hit, and she's gonna do Wind Fury. No Talim's gonna do that. But yeah, in general, react to Wind Furies. It's a very easy move to punish. All right, 6K. He was ramming 6K down your throat. This is a move that I loved long before everyone else did. Now that it's an I-12, people are using it all the time. It's +8 on hit, -14 on block. So there's another, you can either do AA to punish this, you can also do A slide B if you don't suck. So just important move to start punishing. You're going to see this a lot more. It's very steppable, so you don't have to worry about that too much. But this move's going to come up a lot, mostly for punishes, but he was using it a lot in neutral. Mostly to try and force that +8. He probably noticed you weren't punishing it, so he's like, I'm going to keep going for it. This is a move that you never saw before that you're going to see a lot now. So if they don't use it as a punish, it's a good thing to remember to punish yourself. One of the things to remember, it's +8 on hit. Which means one of the things you're going to see, which means you can step a 6BB. 6BB is not going to catch a +8. It has to be +10. So in this situation, you can step a 6BB, but what Talims are mostly going to do is you're going to see a lot of this. You're going to see a lot of 6A because this beats both backstep and sidestep on counter hit. So in this instance, since you are going to be seeing a lot of that, crouching is going to be a really strong thing in this situation. If you want to force your turn back tech crouch is what you want to be using here. Or just crouching in general. That would be my recommendation. And in terms of 6A in general, you are doing this for the most part, but I'll just say it anyway. If you block the first hit of 6A, you're better off crouching. The worst thing you're going to do is get hit by the K, which is not a lot of damage. And you can react to the B, which is now a break attack. You were blocking this a lot, you can react to this. Alright, another move that came up a lot is you were doing a really good thing. Every time you saw a Windsalt, you were doing step 2G, which is what you want to be doing. But you would do step 2G, and then you wouldn't punish the Windsalt A. Windsalt A is very risky against her because it is a free IGR for you. It doesn't matter what stance she transitions into out of it. You can hit her no matter what. She's negative 20. The combo you do is going to change slightly depending on what stance she goes into, but that's pretty easy to adapt to. Oh god, I say that, but like I haven't played Cerv in months, man. Oh wait, that's not true. I played you. I played you with Cerv. Never mind. I'll take it back. Just terrible. Just terrible. I don't think there's anything else. Yeah, punish that move. Okay. So another situation that I saw come up, and you lost a couple rounds to it, was you were getting hit by... You were doing what you should be doing, in the sense that when you see the A string come out, you were challenging with GIs, and in general, you're better off doing a crouching. The high version, the risk reward's generally in your favor, because the B version's not that great. But here's the thing. When your back's to the wall, that risk reward is now way different. You do not ever want to crouch this hit, because she'll get a wind cannon. This wall's kind of funky. There we go. Yeah, you don't want to do that. You're going to take a lot of damage, so I would recommend against that, because it's you're just going to take so much damage, and it's just not worth it. So I would just block it. And if she does do AABB when your back's to the wall, which they likely will, you know, you can just punish that for free. So that's what I would recommend doing in general. Another situation I saw come up a couple times was guard break situation, which is pretty normal. That's what Talim has to do. She really can't open you up. She has no lows to speak of whatsoever. All of her lows are either reactable or mediocre. They got better with their I-12 kick being a thing, because now she can actually do like this, and it's kind of a thing. Whereas before, you could freely trade. Now that'll actually beat it. You have to go for a 2A and get a trade, and that trade's in her favor. But in general, her lows aren't great. I can't help you with not being able to react to this. I saw you get hit by these two lows a couple times. They're just reactable. Once you get used to the animation, you'll block it every time, and it's going to be a non-factor. But I did notice that you were getting hit by the guard break situation a lot, where she would knock you down. She would just do what, A plus B, Oki, A plus B, and she was just doing A plus B all day, which is normal. This is, if you're on a game-winning situation, this is what you want to do. You should be expecting at this point, Windsalt is a very common thing to do when someone is meter bound, or not meter bound, about to get guard broken. So you should look out for this move. Ordinarily, you would be able to, like, you can option select Windsalt with block for a brief period and then do a GI. Beats every single Windsalt option. Not sure if you know that, but I'll go over that briefly. Yeah, you can just block. And it'll either block a Windsalt K and Windsalt A plus B, or it'll GI Windsalt B and Windsalt A. I don't know if you were doing that, but the one time that you don't want to do that is when you're about to get guard broken, because at that point you have to just go in on the immediate GI, because otherwise you're just going to get guard broken. Unfortunately, guard break damage, or guard damage in general, is something Talim's really good at, and especially when it comes to breaking it. She can do like 23 guard damage pretty much whenever she wants, and while that leaves her punishable in other situations, when you can't block it, suddenly it's a really good option. So Talim's will end up going for it a lot, and I saw you eating that. If you are on the ground, I would advise staying on the ground, and she doesn't have a great way to pick you up in a way that allow her to get a good guard break. But yeah, if you start seeing her do wind salt spam, just wait until she puts herself in a situation where you can actually just get out. Alright, so something else I want to talk about is just general how I consider the meter philosophy of this matchup to go. In general, the way that I prefer to use meter as Cervantes in this matchup versus Talim is entirely to counter her meter usage. Because everything... Here's the thing. Cerv wins this matchup when meter is not a factor. You don't need to use meter to beat this matchup. And I think in general, you shouldn't be using it unless you're countering hers. And the advantage to Cerv's meter and his soul charge is that his soul charge turns him into the ultimate keep out character. You can just keep Talim out all day, and there's not really a whole lot she can do. And it's really frustrating for Talim because her soul charge... Again, soul charge was not a mechanic built for Talim. It wasn't until she got soul attack that she could actually utilize it in any way. The pushback is just bad for her. But a lot of her soul charge things have gaps in them. Every single time she has any mix-up situation whatsoever or any YOLO move that she can do in soul charge, if she goes for the 6-6A into AAA... Oh, god damn it. Can't you make it so they stay soul charged? Anyways, if she goes for this, you can just soul charge between it, and there's not really a whole lot she can do. It just is a flat reduction, and then at this point, you can backstep and then just start going with the A6Bs to keep her out and just burn her soul charge out. If she starts trying to run in, just go fucking nuts, dude. She really can't stop you from running around. So use your soul charge to counter her soul charge usage. Every single time she has the aspect, the possibility to get a mix-up on you. If she hits you with Wind Charmer, if you see her do a Wind Charmer raw, you can soul charge there. You can soul charge between this. You can soul charge between this. Every single time she has any chance of getting a mix-up on you, you can just soul charge to counteract it. On top of the fact, if she just goes for super, you don't even have to eat the mix-up here because you can soul charge between the hits here. Use your meter to counter her meter. You're not losing meter as a result of this. You're just making the situation in your favor. Obviously, if Talim soul charge, the matchup is now in her favor, but if you soul charge back, her meter usage is already depleted slightly from either being used on a super or being used to soul charge, and then you go into soul charge, and Cerv's soul charge is better than Talim's, and then you also have more time left. In general, you should be using your meter to punish Talim. Her meter usage or for doing punishes on empty Wind Furies. If you see empty Wind Fury, again, as I said previously, if she does 60 into Wind Fury or anything like that, you should be using that. You can reaction super to this, even really late, and get a punish on it, which is just beneficial to do. And I would recommend doing so. Those are where I would spend my meter versus Talim. I think it's much more advantageous to just essentially turn her meter game non-existent. Her meter game is moot in this matchup because you can just keep her out all day once you're soul charged, or just run away until the meter is no longer a factor. Talim doesn't have the range to really stop you. The most threatening thing, and one of the things I saw you doing, is the most threatening thing she has in this is now when she's running, she has a nice mid option with the Superman punch is now a mid. And you were stepping this, and which is wise. Once she starts going to soul charge, you should be stepping more. Once you're at a distance, step. But, however, one other thing to point out, and this is related to her super, if you are in kill range and she has meter, you shouldn't step anymore. If you want to move linearly, you're going to want to 8-way run, because you can actually block on reaction to the super if she chooses to do so. That way, you don't just get YOLO'd, which is likely going to happen. Another option is her super is very slow, so you can just start going at her face. Just don't do lows, because it's an instant tech jump. But yeah, if you think she's going to do stuff, you can just snag her. just hit her with anything. It doesn't matter. Other than that, I think we pretty much got it. We can discuss the deep philosophies of the neutral game between Cerv and Talim, but I'm going to save that for another video where I talk exclusively about that.